Dad had trusted us both, and Daniel had broken that trust for greed. That night, I made a promise to myself, not to destroy my brother, but to rebuild what he tried to take from me: dignity, strength, and peace. The final court date arrived 3 weeks later. The room felt heavy with expectation. Daniel refused to meet my eyes. The judge read the findings slowly, each word landing like a heartbeat. The will was declared invalid due to procedural manipulation and potential forgery. Dad's estate would be reevaluated, split equally as originally intended, and Daniel was to face investigation for fraud. The moment the gavel hit the desk, I exhaled for what felt like the first time in months. Not a victorious breath, but a release, like grief finally had space to rest. Outside the courthouse, Lisa hugged me. The clouds broke open, sunlight spilling through like a promise. I looked up and whispered again, "Dad, it's over." And for the first time, I believed it. Daniel never apologized, not directly. He moved away a few months later, sold his share of the company, and vanished into another city. But I wasn't angry anymore, not really. Because in losing the house, the business, the inheritance, I had found something bigger. I had found my voice. Now when I drive past that old neighborhood, I still see the echoes of our childhood running across the yard. Dad's laughter, the smell of sawdust from his workshop. And I smile, not because I got justice, but because I learned what justice really means. Justice isn't about revenge. It's about balance, about standing up when silence would be easier, about honoring the truth even when it costs you everything. And if someone ever asks me what I inherited from my father, I tell them this: I inherited courage, and that's worth more than any will could ever give. It's been almost a year since the last court hearing, and life has slowly started to breathe again. The mornings don't feel like battles anymore. The sun coming through my kitchen window feels warm instead of sharp. I make coffee the way Dad used to, 2 spoons of sugar and a dash of cinnamon. The smell alone brings back the sound of his voice, telling me that courage isn't loud. It's quiet and steady, like the heartbeat that never gives up. I've learned that healing doesn't arrive in big moments. It slips in quietly between the ordinary ones. The walk to work, the grocery lines, the laughter of strangers. It lives in those pauses where pain used to echo. I don't think forgiveness is something you say once. It's something you practice every day, like learning to breathe again after a storm. Daniel never came back, but sometimes he sends short emails, just a few lines about how he's doing. I don't reply much, not because I'm angry, but because there's nothing left to argue about. He's living his story, and I'm living mine. Maybe someday we'll meet again when time has softened the edges. Maybe we'll sit on that same porch where Dad used to drink his evening tea and talk like brother and sister again. No lawyers, no bitterness, just silence and memory. Lisa still checks in. She became more than a lawyer. She became a friend. The kind who reminds you that strength isn't built in victories, but in the nights you cry and still show up the next morning. Sometimes we drive past the courthouse and laugh about how terrified I was the first day. It feels unreal now, like a different lifetime. I've started writing again, not legal statements or angry letters, but stories. Simple stories about people who lose everything and still find themselves. Because that's what happened to me. I didn't just win a case. I rediscovered who I was before fear made me quiet. I write late into the night, the lamp flickering softly, and sometimes I imagine Dad reading over my shoulder, smiling that proud half smile he always had when he saw me doing what I loved. There's a line I keep taped to my desk, something he wrote years ago on a scrap of paper. The hardest battles are the ones that teach you who you are. Every time I look at it, I remember that the storm wasn't meant to break me. It was meant to reveal me. And now, when I walk outside and the wind hits my face, I don't flinch anymore. I welcome it because I know the wind that once pushed me down now carries me forward, stronger, clearer, freer. If you ask me what justice feels like, I'd say it doesn't sound like a gavel. It sounds like peace. And in that peace, I finally found my father again. Not in the house, not in the company, but in the quiet courage he left behind inside me.